Hi everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of the Outlier Podcast. I've got a good friend, John, joining us from Dallas. Hi John, how are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you so much for having me here today.
My pleasure. Absolutely. So, quick introduction about John. John is head of marketing of First United Bank, a regional bank based. He is based in Texas, but the bank is based somewhere else. Has around 30 years of experience, a respected marketer in financial services for the last almost 2 decades. Have spent considerable number of years in larger banks, starting with Chase, then moved to Huntington, spent a few years working around fintechs. That's another interesting thing because that means he has almost covered the 360 value of the financial services, large bank, fintech, now a regional bank, running marketing for First United, right? So,
Yep.
John, I won't definitely steal the thunder, and I definitely won't do a good job if I talk about your journey. Why don't you talk about your journey a bit? How have you been in? What have you done in the last 3 decades, and what brought you to this current role, and how fun is it?
Good. Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah, and it's been a journey. And the journey's really been built around one particular idea, and that is really trying to understand why people make the decisions they do. What are those influences in their lives that are causing needs in their lives that they need to have met? And what are those influences doing to help them and also get in their way of really living the kind of life they want? And so with that kind of psychology, it really is turned into a career that is really about finding those moments of truth, those moments when people are making decisions that are going to really make a difference in their life, more than just trying to sell a product to somebody, really trying to elevate a life. And I guess we're fortunate in the financial services space that we can have a real impact on somebody's life when it comes to the decisions they make. And whether it's been at Chase, Huntington, brands like that, I've had an opportunity to really engage customers on a very different level. And at those larger institutions, I really gained an appreciation for operational rigor, analytics, and the kind of things that we then can bring to life then in the fintech space. And now here at First United, where I'm with a very much a purpose-driven organization where we can bring all of this experience together and not just, worry about transactions, but really worry about those seminal moments where customers are making choices, again, like I said, that are going to shift the direction of their life. And our purpose here at First United Bank is to inspire and empower others to spend life wisely. And when we do that, and when we can engage people in such a manner that it really does inspire and empower them, that's really what I think is going to make a difference for them and for us at the end of the day.
I think that's the reason most of us work with financial services because you're actually helping a person with life goals. You're helping someone to buy their first home. You're helping a kid, a sophomore, to buy his or her first car. So these are actual life decisions that you're helping someone with. So, I mean, people might talk about it's a business of money, but I somehow differ. I don't believe it's just money circulation, but it's about helping or empowering our customers lead a better and advised life, right? So
Yep.
you covered it very well. So that's interesting. Moving on to brands, right? So obviously
Yep.
you worked and built brands globally. I mean, be it with, you know, part of the mammoth ecosystem at Chase to even going and working at Alchemy, a fintech, and now First United, right? So you've seen the scale both at a national as well as local level because there are not a lot of CMOs in credit unions or community banks who have seen both the end of the spectrum, but you've seen both of them.
Mhm.
So my question is, what translates and what has to be thrown out? I mean, no fluff.
Okay, no fluff. We're going to get right to the tough questions here. No softballs, huh? All right. Well, what translates? What translates probably more than anything is trust, because we are ultimately asking our customers to trust us with their money and what that money represents. That money represents the hours they have put into earning a living, earning a nest egg, being able to build the kind of life that they want for their family. And we think about the number of hours we put into our occupation, and that's time we probably would rather be spending with family to begin with. But if you think about the amount of time you spend devoted to your craft, that's got to mean something. And they're gonna trust us with that. Not only that, but also their future. When we talk about taking care of somebody's money, it's not just what they've earned, but what they need on into the future when they may be on that fixed income. But you can't just go out and proclaim yourself trustworthy. What I learned the most during my career is banks need to be the ones to extend trust first. That's where it really begins. And we need to be first in the trust equation. And I learned that at Huntington, got to work with some real rock stars there, like Holly Hines, who's the retail CMO at Wells Fargo these days. And we worked on a product called 24-Hour Grace that allowed customers time to correct an overdraft before getting hit with an overdraft fee.
Yeah.
And I mean, that product and that innovation really sent a signal, and it said, hey, we trust you. We know things happen. You're good for it. We don't have to beat you over the head with gotcha fees. And so that it's funny that trust signal resonated with every level of customer, whether they were somebody who overdrafted frequently or had millions of dollars on deposit. Now, that being kind of the equation and the thing that translates, how that comes to life at a community bank like First United Bank really manifests itself through what we call empowerment and having the trust in our people to make local decisions. And it's local leaders who understand their local communities and the people walking in the door that we trust to make good decisions. And not only our bankers, but our customers. We want to make sure that they are empowered, that they have the resources they need to live their lives. So we trust them to make good decisions. If I were to measure this trust operationally, it would probably show up, and this may sound strange, but it would show up in the form of speed of response, because we understand the customer's situation, speed to money, getting them the resources they need. And it's things like that that really help set us apart in the marketplace. And that's what translates then at that community bank level.
Yeah, because it's a very different way of doing business for a community bank versus the top 10 banks or top 20 banks. I mean, I've realized this in the last 3 years. I was never in community banking, but now I realize the more. It's different and it's interesting. I see it's mission driven and it's not just selling, right? What you talked about, trust is the cornerstone. So John, I 100% agree. But on the other side, I will only bank with a financial institution that gives me a good experience. For me, experience is the most important thing. I keep on sounding like a broken record. It doesn't matter to pay me a couple of more basis points or even a couple of more percentages on my credit card. I'm okay. But if you have a good experience, I'm in. That's the reason might be, Chime did amazingly. Look at Revolut. Revolut is just, conquering the market one after the other in the US now. Seriously. My question is, big banks have the money. JPMorgan Chase has if I'm not wrong, JPMorgan Chase's yearly technology budget is $15 billion. That's not even the asset size of regional community bank. Big banks have the money, and Chimes are like experience is sexy. Chime is fast. You can open an account within 2.5-3 minutes. I think I have a Chime account that took 3 minutes to open. So these are extremes. Have money and experience is amazing. Where do you think, or what is the reason because of which regional banks still win? 65% of our commercial portfolio or commercial loans lie with community banks, right? And regional banks. So what do you think is a differentiator? Maybe when you talk about your bank or, banks of your size in general.
That is a really good question. And you articulated a couple of key competitive forces out there. Yes, the big banks have the money, and firms like Chime are changing the way changing people's expectations when it comes to what their banking life should look like. And unfortunately, I'm gonna answer your question two ways here. I'm gonna say first, unfortunately, I see a lot of community banks just go out there and say, we're local, we won't treat you like a number. Hey, trust us, what we were talking about earlier. And you can't really just rely on that only. Because frankly, any local business will try to pull that same card. And if you sound like the plumber down the street or the chiropractor down the street, you're clearly not differentiating yourself enough to set yourself apart from the other options out there. So where the regional and community banks can really give themselves an advantage really is connecting on that emotional level with a customer. And we all know that it's emotions that drive our decisions, whether those decisions are about what I'm going to eat today or where I'm going to spend my money. And it's that emotional tension that people feel about their finances and those inflection points that they go through where there's somebody there who can actually help them manage through that. And we've got some folks doing some pretty heroic work in that space of sitting down and talking people through those big monumental decisions. So it's really managing that emotional tension where I think community banks can really help customers, it really what we were talking about earlier, live those elevated lives.
Yeah, I think that's very well summed up, that you cannot be everything to everyone. I mean, to your point, right? I think that's the biggest problem that community FIs do. I mean, all of us have a checking account, all of us have a savings, all of us have a credit card, but like, what will motivate me to become a member of your bank, right? How do I become a customer of your bank? That differentiator needs to be there. And I think, you guys are doing a good job. I mean, I've been following First United for a while. At least for the last 6 months, I've been following you guys. I somehow feel that you guys are doing a good job in telling about the story, that why are you different? What are you exactly offering? That's well taken.
Yeah, well, that's where the purpose-driven portion our purpose-driven mission really comes to life. When we can engage somebody at a values level, then we make that a part of the value proposition. I like to say values plus value give you the invaluable. So if you can engage somebody not on just that value prop, but that values prop, then you're going to create that invaluable experience for them.
I think even the relationship becomes much more stickier when people value you, when people trust you. Otherwise, you're another financial institutions. There are like 9,600 financial institutions in the country, right? Competing against that is not an easy thing. But when you not play on value, but when you value, that's where the major difference or the magic happens.
Correct. Yep.
The next question I hate to ask, John, but still, I mean, I'm a data scientist myself. I mean, even a couple of years back, I used to develop models for targeting, for response models, right? I've done it myself. Now, suddenly people talk about AI and make everyone feel like data science is gone. It's all AI. Data science is an evolution of AI, right? I mean, for the lack of better words, LLMs were there 10 years back. Now people are able to touch and feel LLMs because they have been productionized, they have been democratized, for the lack of better words. You can use a Claude and you can feel it's actually happening.
Yep.
So I'm very sure your bank is also torn between multiple ideas, what to do, what not to do, how best to use AI. Right? In your function in marketing, where do you think is AI actually moving the needle? And where do you think is AI still a fluff?
Good question. I'm going to go with the fluff side of things first. Where AI is really kind of theater is in the explosion of content we've seen out there. All of a sudden, everybody is a copywriter and a strategist and a creative director and just stuffing the world with just way too much completely contrived content that really is designed to appeal to an AI algorithm at the end of the day. So you have AI contrived content appealing to an AI algorithm. So you pretty much have AI talking to AI. At the end of the day, isn't it a human who's supposed to make the purchase decision? So that's where I think we're kind of I don't know if I'd call it fluff, or maybe I'm using too strong of a word, but we're getting in our own way. So we're kind of getting in our own way with all of that content. And granted, I know that Meta and the Google platforms are just devouring that content right now, and they're chewing it up and recreating the real time executions of different campaigns. I know all that, but really, I think we are kind of getting in our own way from a content standpoint. But where AI can help us out is when we were talking about earlier about that personalization. We now have the ability to do what we've been talking about for decades, and that is that real-time personalized experience. We've been talking about it for a while, but even when we called it real time, say 10, 15 years ago, we were operating off of what we would consider today stale data, and really couldn't be that incredibly responsive to a customer when they were engaging with a particular piece of content, or just when they were sending off a behavioral signal. AI now gives us the ability to read behavioral signals in real time and be there with the right offer, the right message, in the right channel, whatever is best for that customer, not just that customer, but in that moment. So we've gone from the old spectrum of one to many marketing, one to segment marketing. We are in one-to-one marketing. I think AI now gets us to that one-to-moment marketing opportunity where we can be there right when the customer needs us.
When I hear this concept of one-to-one marketing, I mean, I've been professing it for the last 11 years that I'm doing, I'm doing analytics or data science. This one-to-segment marketing is dead, for the lack of better words. I mean, if you're still creating a segment and looking at personas, God help you, literally in the next 5 years. I mean, I hate to use the word this, but community FIs are still talking about segments. Community FIs are still talking about personas. I'm like, guys, segmentation was done like, I think 15 years back. Now, what are we even talking about? It's one-to-one.
Yep.
So, talked about, I think that is very relevant. That makes sense. I have a fret, right? I hate this. So I won't name the bank. There's a bank, size 20-25 billion asset size. These guys send me HELOC campaigns every month. I don't even have a house. Guys,
yeah.
Can't you just understand? Can't you just look at my offers data from bureau? Can't you look at my trade lines and understand that no, I don't have a mortgage that's running, and I'm not as rich that I'll pay $1 million when I'm 32 and just buy the entire house. Or I cannot do that. I need to have a mortgage, guys. They can't even decipher that. So that's marketing done wrong, right? But what you talked about, there's this one-to-one marketing. That's what is required, right? And I'm glad to hear it from a leader like you who came from the larger banks.
Oh, well, thank you. But yeah, I mean, it's just, it's table stakes at this point. To your point earlier, anybody who's doing segment-based marketing, you're actually insulting. You're insulting people like yourself. I mean, that's insulting that somebody would be sending you an offer that you can't even use, So, I mean, that's just table stakes at the end of the day, really.
Basic table stakes that still people don't understand. It'll take some time.
Yeah.
My next question, it's a bit debatable. It's a bit debatable, but my question is like brand building or performance marketing, because I would say both, right? But what is that according to you? You want to put your money for just brand building or performance marketing?
You're going to ask me to choose between my children, aren't you? Okay. I get paid for performance, so probably going to lean toward the performance marketing end of things. But, even though that's what I get paid for, I know that performance marketing is enhanced dramatically when you have a strong emotional connection with a customer. And that comes from brand building. And so it's a necessity. I know I'm answering this question out of both sides of my mouth. Hope you don't mind.
No, that's fine.
But if I'm really going to produce measurable outcomes, honestly, things become much more dramatically improved when you have that affinity with a brand. And one of the most important metrics that we review on a regular basis is our brand consideration. And so that is something that we're constantly paying attention to, because it's only when you reduce that emotional friction, really, with a brand, that you are able to really get permission to then offer them a product. And I have been so fortunate over my career to work with just brand rock stars out there like Adam Albrecht, Adam Ferguson, Noah Davis. Giants in the industry who have really helped shape me. I think I've been the Robin to their Batman at times. And now at First United Bank, we can use our purpose, our Spend Life Wisely positioning, as an emotional framework to engage somebody beyond just what is a rate or a product, and really talk to them in that framework of like, let us help you spend life wisely. And it's by being very customer first with that kind of framework that allows us then to get the permission to talk with them about a product offer.
Very deep answer, I would say. Love that.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a sip after that.
Now the next question might look like, that we are those creepy people who stalk people, but not really. So your LinkedIn handle, right? It's interesting. It's called Simple Truths. Not a lot of people don't know that, right? So what does it mean? What simple truth about marketing took you years to learn, and what was it about?
Okay. Good question. Well, the simple truth kind of relates back to what you and I've been talking about, and building around customers and around their journey. And really, the simplest truth is customers are not participating in our journey. We are participating in theirs. Customers are living their lives, full stop. And it is up to us to build our products around them. They are the fixed position in the model, and we need to make sure that we are engaging them as they experience life. Too many marketers, really build customer journeys around a product or a buy cycle or something like that. And it actually needs to be really in reverse. It's the customer's life that matters more than our product. And and as human beings really kind of move through their lives and move through these experiences, these inflection points, it can the relationship can get damaged, really, if you start to engage them the wrong way at the wrong time as they are living their life. And it really, I think, boils down to what I've seen happen a lot of times when I see people whiteboard a customer journey. It's often very neat and linear and in a funnel. And in all honesty, the only neat and linear journey there is a cattle chute. And we know where that's taking the cattle, So that is the only neat and linear journey that I have ever seen in my life.
I think I think even that's not neat and clean now. I think that has diversions for sure. To your point exactly, I hear about this term a lot, that banking is a chore, right? Banking is a chore that people. No, there's nothing sexy about banking. What's sexy about banking? Nothing, right? We are obsessed because we do banking. For an end consumer, it's just a vehicle to move money and park money and live their life, right? Unless you are a part of that journey, the consideration after for the next life event will never be there. I'll only appeal to someone. I'll only go and take my mortgage from a bank only if the bank helps me with financial literacy. How do I plan for a mortgage from today for the next 2 years? Otherwise, it's a commodity.
Amen. We really are. You described it perfectly. A bank is only a place to store your money, get access to your money, occasionally borrow some money when you have a particular need. We buy and sell money and make our profit off the margin in between. It's pretty simple. Yeah.
One question that I want to ask, last question before we do some rapid fires. If you were to talk about your leadership philosophy in one sentence or two sentences, what would that be?
One sentence or two sentences. One sentence or two sentences. The thing I want to do most as a leader is help people discover the amazing within themselves, discover what makes them special, discover what they bring to the table, and really be able to be proud of that and use that to propel them to live a better life outside of the four walls of work. Because we spend more time with our work associates than we do with our family. And so any time spent here at work, I want to make sure they're discovering their best selves, they're experiencing their best selves, and they can use that to experience a great life after hours.
Perfect. That was a very well thought out and clear and crisp answer. Appreciate that. So I know, John, you have other appointments. So let's just quickly wrap up this with a few rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
First, one favorite holiday destination.
I'm sorry, one favorite what?
One favorite holiday destination. Your vacation destination.
A holiday destination, that would be Leavenworth, not the prison, but Leavenworth, Washington, in the mountains. It is absolutely beautiful during the holidays.
Perfect. If you were to recommend one marketing book for anyone to read, what would that be?
Oh, just one. I would say anything Seth Godin, but I would say Permission Marketing is probably something that made a big difference for me.
Makes sense. Biggest marketing myth.
Biggest marketing myth. You can't measure marketing.
You can, otherwise performance marketing will be dead.
Ta-da! There we are.
Controversial question. Brand or performance?
Oh, come on.
Again. You're like, I cannot choose between two of my kids.
Okay. All right. Fine. I will land with performance marketing.
Now, that means I'll still have a job. Great. Okay. One last question. Marketer you admire the most?
The marketer I admire the most is actually not a marketer. He's an economist. Dan Ariely wrote Predictably Irrational, really took the time to understand human beings and how they make decisions. And I think he's more of a marketer than he realizes. But I would say he's the one I admire the most.
I think unconventional marketers are the best. I've seen the best CMOs don't even have an MBA degree in marketing, right?
I in my pantheon in my career, 3 of my bosses have all been engineers in the marketing space. So it's yeah.
That's by the way, even I'm an engineer.
Okay.
So John, this was great. Spending this time, spending this time with us, sharing your journey, talking about marketing. Really, really fun. So thank you again, sir. Appreciate your time with us today. Thank you.
My pleasure. And thank you. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Pleasure.